We are back for our daily NBA best bets here on Wednesday, April 8th. We've got 7 games today in the association, and we found our 5 best bets again for the 7-game slate. There are 2 games on a doubleheader tonight on ESPN. That's between the Atlanta Hawks and the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Portland Trail Blazers and the San Antonio Spurs. We're going to have best bets for both of those games. The 2 games we are not going to be talking about today are, well, the games that don't really matter. The Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Detroit Pistons. That has no effect on seeding regardless. Pistons are locked in at 1. Obviously, we know the Bucks are not making the playoffs, and they lost the Nets yesterday, as well as we're not talking about Nuggets versus Grizzlies. I just don't care. I just don't care. In 22.5 points, I thought about going Memphis plus 22.5, but that's where Vegas gets you. I'll stay away. Regardless, folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA best bets here on the channel. Earlier today, we posted our MLB best bets, so go make sure to check those out. And on Greedo Plays MMA this week, our UFC 327 full card predictions. Also, our PFL predictions, both with PFL Chicago and PFL Africa. We already posted 3 times this week on Greedo Plays MMA, and we're going to post yet again on Thursday for our UFC 327 best bets from Miami, Florida. So again, a lot of content on both channels this week. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on both of them as we now get into the first of our 5 best bets today for the association. Kicking things off with our first bet in that aforementioned doubleheader on ESPN. We're going to kick it off with that Hawks-Cavaliers game. A huge matchup in terms of the Hawks seeding. The Cavaliers could still jump up to 3, but it looks like they're probably going to be at 4. We'll see again with both them and New York winning 3 consecutive games. This is a massive game though for Atlanta, and I'm not going to pick a winner. I'm too split on it, man. The Cavs are playing better basketball. Obviously, the Atlanta Hawks are coming off of a loss, but the games the Hawks have been playing has just been absurd. Obviously, the wins that they've been getting, I don't want to pick against that team, and I don't want to really pick against Cleveland either right now. So instead, I'm going to be taking Jalen Johnson tonight. Obviously, the star point forward, we can say, for the Atlanta Hawks. Give me Jalen Johnson over 31.5 points and rebounds. I stayed away from the PRA line just considering what he's done recently, and I understand the rebounds as a whole might be down a little bit tonight because of the fact, obviously, you know what Cleveland has with their bigs, obviously Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I get it. Obviously, Cleveland is a solid rebounding team for the most part. However, I do believe Jalen Johnson is still able to go over this line. Johnson this season, obviously, averaging a near triple-double. Johnson averaging 23, 10, and 8. Again, the guy is just the legit and total package. And I don't want to say, again, I keep saying this, I don't think Trae Young's the reason. Trae Young being gone from Atlanta is the reason why they're playing better, but I do believe it has allowed Jalen Johnson to come into his own and be the star player and be the number 1 guy, obviously, for the Hawks, and that has paid dividends for this team. But you look at what Jalen Johnson's been doing recently. Last game against the New York Knicks on Monday, he plays 41 minutes in that 3-point loss that they took where, you know, the shot at the end of the game, whatever, doesn't count. It is what it is. Jalen Johnson scores 21 points and has 11 rebounds in that matchup. So again, we're looking at 32 PR in that game. Again, coming very, very closely with this line, obviously going over, but game prior to that, 18-11, slightly under, 18-14 prior to that against the Orlando Magic, 20-12 prior to that against the Boston Celtics. It's a line that Jalen Johnson is pretty much hovering at every single game, but I do believe why this goes over is because the fast pace this game is going to be played at. I mean, yeah, Knicks-Hawks is a really fast-paced game, but ultimately the final score is 108 to 105, and for the Hawks, that's an extremely low-scoring game, because, I mean, look at the game they played prior to that against the Brooklyn Nets. The final score is 141 to 107 in that matchup. Against the Orlando Magic, 2 high-paced teams. Final score is 130 to 101. In a game where I don't think there's going to be much defense played, because that's the name of the game for the Hawks. I'm not going to, again, I don't think they're going to make a run and win the East, but I do believe if there is a sleeper team, and what I mean by sleeper team is, you know, a team outside the top 4 to win the Eastern Conference this year, it's absolutely Atlanta. I don't think they're going to do it, but they feel a little bit Pacers-coded, I will tell you. The problem for them, though, they don't have a superstar like Tyrese Halliburton was last year, obviously, for Indiana. That's the difference between, again, what I think the Hawks could be this season compared to what Indiana was last year. Again, they just don't have a player like Halliburton to take over in the clutch minutes. Maybe that's Jalen Johnson, maybe that's Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but, like, you know, what was up with the Hawks Twitter page posting a clip of Nickeil Alexander-Walker driving to the basket and saying, and the caption was, he looks just like him, like, yeah, well, it is his cousin, but imagine being Nickeil Alexander-Walker and your own team is posting, wow, oh, we wish he was Shea. It's crazy. Anyways, though, the Hawks, they do feel like a team that could go on a run. It's just, again, I don't know who's going to hit those clutch time shots, but I think if there's anyone who, again, we've been all over Boston for the longest time, right? I told you Boston back in December was going to win the East, and we're still on that, and I feel pretty good that they're going to do so. They're going to be the 2 seed, right? We'll see who they get in the second round. First round, they're probably going to get like a Toronto, Philly, Orlando. I like all those matchups. I hope it's Orlando desperately, but regardless, if anyone's going to make the run, it's going to be the Hawks, because the Hawks will get that Detroit series. And I do think, again, there's a lot of similarities, right? Last year, Indiana was able to get the Cavs in the first round. That was a somewhat untested playoff team, and Indiana was able to beat them in the first round or the second round of the playoffs. You're going to get likely Atlanta versus Detroit. And yeah, I believe the Hawks in a 7-game series will get by the Cavaliers. I will say, though, it may be in the Hawks' best interest to lose tonight. I know it sounds crazy. The easier matchup is still the New York Knicks. It is. And if you lose tonight, the Cavs potentially get back in the 3 spot and you send the Knicks down. But again, you can't for sure do that, because the Hawks, if they lose tonight, they could wind up back in the 6, and then you could wind up in another Knicks matchup. Obviously, the name of the game is, though, to just keep winning, and that's what obviously the Hawks are going to try to do tonight. I'm going to take Jalen Johnson on the over. Again, high-paced game, a lot of rebounds up for grabs. I think both teams are going to be running all game long. These are two of the best offensive teams in the NBA, and at the same time, again, I think Jalen Johnson's going to score quite a bit. The amount of shots this guy takes and the amount of minutes Jalen Johnson takes. I mean, the Hawks have completely. It was, it's a drastic shift, because Trae Young's been the face of the franchise since he's been drafted, obviously, right? They went through the Eastern Conference Finals run with Trae Young back in 2021. Obviously, the beef with the Knicks fans, it was great what Trae obviously did in Atlanta. But they made a big decision. Trae Young was an all-star, was a back-to-back 2-time all-star in back-to-back seasons. I think he's like a 3 or 4-time all-star, but he was an all-star in 2 straight seasons going into this year. And obviously, he gets injured, and they decide, okay, this is the year we're going to move on. You make a huge change saying, okay, that's the face of our franchise. You got all these, people in the crowd wearing the Trae Young jerseys, and now Jalen Johnson's our face, and we're going to trust and rely on Jalen Johnson to be the guy. And I do believe tonight he's going to go over the points and rebounds. Again, in big-time games, they're going to need to get a lot out of Jalen Johnson. That's going forward into the postseason. But this is a preview, potentially, of a first-round matchup where I believe the Hawks will get the better of Cleveland. Regardless, it's going to be Jalen Johnson over on the points and rebounds. It's going to be over 31.5 at minus 105. On to our second best bet of the video, we go now to a matchup between the Orlando Magic and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yesterday, we weren't on point, what can I say, with that Minnesota Timberwolves-Indiana Pacers bet. I thought the Pacers were going to put up a little bit more of a fight with no Anthony Edwards on the court. I was wrong. Ethan Thompson was the leading scorer for the Pacers, so yikes. Ayo Dosunmu, how about him scoring 24 for Minnesota yesterday? But I don't expect Anthony Edwards to play tonight for the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves yesterday, after their win against Indiana and the loss the Phoenix Suns took, the Suns were up 26-5 to start that game, and they lost. Perfect, right? But with both of those results, Phoenix losing and Minnesota winning, that has guaranteed the Minnesota Timberwolves will not be in the play-in. They are now locked in completely to being the number 6 seed in the Western Conference. They can't move up. They can't move down. They are now just awaiting their opponent, which will likely be the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Nuggets still have both San Antonio and OKC on their schedule, but I think it's expected now Denver is going to beat OKC in that game, likely with no Victor Wembanyama, because I think Wemby's only going to play, the Dallas game I think they're expecting. Obviously, Wemby just needing to play one more game to reach All-NBA and likely, and yeah, he's going to win the Defensive Player of the Year award as well. So it's probably going to be Denver in the 3, Minnesota in the 6, and we're going to see again how the seeding all adds up with the Lakers and the Rockets. They have the same exact record right now. Lakers have the tiebreaker. We'll see who ends up with the 4 and who gets home court advantage in that first round matchup, which could be huge, again, because if Luka is getting his special treatment in Spain, just saying, what if that goes 7? You want to be at home for that game if Luka is able to return at the very end of that series, which I don't think the Lakers are going to be able to take the Rockets 7. I'll just be honest, without Luka and AR, I think that's ending in 5, maybe 4. The Lakers have played the Rockets extremely well this season. The problem is, who's going to score points? You just have Braun. I'm concerned. I'm really concerned. Anyways, though, what's J.R. Smith up to right now? What's Dwight Howard up to right now? I mean, those are the lengths we're trying to go to at this point. It's horrible. Anyways, we look at this Minnesota versus Orlando matchup. Yes, I'm betting on the Orlando Magic today. Shocker, I know. We have consistently played against Orlando all year long, and recently too, because let's just say it, they're not that good, right? We've looked at their last couple matchups. They lost 3 in a row before beating the Indiana Pacers just the other day. They're not a great team, but this is a massive matchup for them. And for Minnesota, this is why I'm taking it. Again, I'm not doing it because of the Orlando Magic. I'm not doing it because I'm thrilled about what Orlando's doing right now. I'm doing it because Minnesota's got no incentive to win anymore. I'm sure they're going to ramp up Ant right before the regular season ends. And obviously, right, there's not many more regular season games left. There's 3 of them as a whole, I believe Minnesota's got left. Yeah. I don't think Ant's going to play until the final regular season game. And normally that's the game where you sit your starters, but I do believe Minnesota is going to get Ant back out there for that one, so he's not sitting out for 2 straight weeks before the first playoff game. So I don't expect Ant to be back on this road trip. Did not play yesterday. I'm not expecting him back tonight either. And obviously Vegas doesn't as well with the line being where it's at. And I don't expect him to play on Friday night in Houston, which doesn't help the Lakers out, but whatever. I think he'll be back for the final game of the regular season. They'll get him 20 minutes against New Orleans to close the season just so he gets his legs back, and obviously then they'll get him ready for that huge matchup that they will likely get against the Denver Nuggets, another big Nuggets Timberwolves series now in the first round. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait. But anyways, I don't think Ant's going to play much. I don't think Ant's going to play at all these next 2 games. With that being said, I think the Magic are able to take advantage of this game. And I think you're going to see more players other than just Anthony Edwards not playing. Obviously, we know Ant and Jaden McDaniels have been out. Both of those guys did not play yesterday against Indiana. I think there's a legitimate chance the Timberwolves just completely throw in the towel for tonight. Because again, there's absolutely zero incentive for winning. They could lose out. And go 47-35. You are still the 6th seed. Right? I mean, they've clinched it. The Suns, there's nothing the Suns can do. The Suns have 36 losses. So, if I'm the Timberwolves, yeah, I'm sitting a lot of guys tonight. I do believe that's what they're going to do, right? They beat Indiana yesterday, and is that the most taxing victory? No, okay? The Pacers, again, are throwing out the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. Or sorry, they're not the Fort Wayne Mad Ants anymore. They're the Noblesville Boom, who they threw out there essentially last night, plus Jarris Walker. The Pacers are clearly not trying to win. Again, they've secured bottom 3 odds. I love it. Again, AJ Devonsta or Darren Peterson next year alongside Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, please. I need it. But yesterday, the Timberwolves play their guys quite a bit, right? I mean, they played Julius Randle 28 minutes. They played Rudy Gobert 33 minutes. They played Dante DiVincenzo 31. They played Ayo Dosunmu 33, who scores 24 points. You played Naz Reid off the bench 24 minutes. Sorry, Tweet does play 24 minutes, scores 17 points. They had to play a lot of these bench guys, or there are a lot of their bench guys too, but a lot of their players had to play. And this entire starting lineup played most of that game, or at least the minutes they needed to play in their normal minutes. You win, great. You have no incentive to win anymore. If I'm Minnesota, I'm sitting most of their guys tonight. In Orlando, this is an absolute must. The Magic have turned things around, obviously. I might have misspoke earlier and said the Magic just beat the Pacers. I was talking about the Timberwolves, obviously. Orlando has won 3 in a row, right? We did not think they were going to be able to go to Detroit and win. That game was at home in Orlando. They won it. 2 games prior to that, they go to Dallas and win. They go to New Orleans and win, right? It's now 3 consecutive wins for the Orlando Magic against Dallas, New Orleans, and Detroit. And all of a sudden, now the Magic find themselves in a really good spot to potentially avoid the daunted 9-10 play-in game. Yesterday, obviously, with the Heat's loss and the Heat's continued losing, right? We thought Toronto was going to beat them yesterday. Miami is now locked in at 10. So Miami 100% is going on the road in their first play-in game. Obviously, the Pat Riley streak of mediocrity. And Pat Riley's done phenomenal things in the sport, do not get me wrong, but recently in Miami, it's always been, Pat Riley's team, they get in the playoffs as an 8 seed. It's going to be an uphill climb for them this year, because you're probably going to have to go to Charlotte and then maybe Orlando or Philly. But again, this is a massive game for the Magic because they're trying to hold off Charlotte. If Orlando wins today, they have a full game up on the Hornets for the 8 seed. And obviously, we say it all the time, that 7-8 game, massive, even if you lose it, because now you get the 8 seed game at home. So we talk about all the time in the West with that fight between currently the Clippers and the Portland Trail Blazers. It's a massive spot for Orlando. They desperately need to win this game so they get their 2 chances to make the playoffs. Minnesota could care less. So this is a game where I think Orlando's going to win. I think they're going to win it by double digits. I really expect Minnesota to sit most of their guys. Give me Orlando at home to cover the 6 points and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. On to our third best bet of the video, we go to a matchup on prime time, obviously between the San Antonio Spurs and the Portland Trail Blazers. Okay, I know Stephon Castle's not playing tonight. I know Victor Wembanyama is not playing tonight for San Antonio. Despite that, should they not still be able to cover 3.5 against the Portland Trail Blazers? Maybe I'm missing something, but I do believe San Antonio should still cover the spread. I really think they should. I think this is a gifted line, honestly, and I get it, the injuries suck, and who wants it more? Okay, yeah, probably Portland, but still, San Antonio's trying to get into the swing of things for the postseason. This is a huge playoff run for them, and the first of many, right? San Antonio's going to be in the postseason every single year for the next decade, and obviously it doesn't help that, 10 teams per conference get into the playoffs, or at least into the postseason. But San Antonio is going to be a perennial playoff team, again, for as long as Victor Wembanyama is here. But this is the first of many playoff runs for them, and they're trying to ramp up for this postseason run where, again, they're great. The expectation, though, is still not high for them at all. This is their first run. That's why, again, I I don't think they're going to go too far in this postseason run. I think, honestly, I've been so low on Denver all year long. After that last Denver-San Antonio game, I think if that's the second round matchup, I do believe Denver's going to win, guys. I believe so. Again, that's nothing to talk down upon the Spurs. Wembanyama is going to win multiple championships. I just don't think they're ready yet this season. And I hate to say it, they might need to shed off De'Aaron Fox before they can make a run. Get rid of that money, allocate it elsewhere, make the bench a little bit better, because you can get that production out of Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. You can. And those guys are not making nearly as much, obviously, as Fox is getting. Regardless, though, they're ramping up for this first postseason run. And, Wemby's not playing tonight. Stephon Castle's not playing tonight. That's it. I know De'Aaron Fox has been kind of a bum recently. Let's just call it how it is. I mean, he's not played well. I know what he's capable of, obviously. He was an all-star in the first half of the season. He's been very bad in the second half. But you need him to come through tonight. You need, your other pieces as well alongside Fox, Devin Vassell, Julian Champagnie, Luke Cornett's likely starting at the 5. We'll see. I assume they're just going to start both De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper at the same time, or maybe they keep Dylan Harper with the second unit because obviously that's what he's going to be doing in the postseason. Still, though, they should be able to beat Portland. Guys, the Blazers are not very good. It's just the truth. The Blazers are a mediocre team. And I know Portland did win the last game that they played against San Antonio. Denny Adjeva Magic, right? They went into San Antonio, won the game by 5 points. And yes, you can make the case this game means a lot more than Portland than it does for San Antonio. But I don't think Portland's able to overcome this. And a Portland loss tonight kind of keeps them in the 9. They will get a matchup against the Clippers, though. Actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't at all, because, well, we'll get to the Clippers game at the end of the video. They're playing OKC. So both these teams expected to lose, right? Both the Clippers and Blazers, who are chasing the 8 seed, they're both playing 1 and 2 currently in the Western Conference. Again, we'll talk about that OKC game at the end, OKC Clippers game at the end of the video. But because obviously Portland plays the Clippers next, so there's a chance, yes, Portland could, completely take the 8 seed right back and get the chance to play the Suns in the first play-in game. And what is more important, obviously, hosting the 8 seed game against the winner of the Warriors versus whoever game. Regardless, though, I don't think it matters that the Blazers need it more. I just don't think it does. Guys, I watched the Blazers blow a 25-point lead in the second half to the Denver Nuggets, and yet Denver's playing great basketball right now, but guys, I can't trust in this Portland team right now. They're still somewhat injured, right, with Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, and Vit Krejci all out tonight. Obviously, yes, you still have Adjeva, you still got Drew Holiday, Toumani Camara, you got, obviously, they're big from UConn in Donovan Clingan. San Antonio, despite the fact that, no Stephon Castle, no Victor Wembanyama, they should still be able to win. If this team is as good as they're supposed to be, which, again, I know they're good, I just don't think they're on the level of OKC, and I think in a 7-game series they can't beat Denver this season. Not saying next year they probably will. Next year, they're probably be better than OKC. I don't know if they're going to be better than OKC. Next year, OKC, San Antonio, I know San Antonio won the majority of the games in the regular season. Next year, that postseason series is going to be ultra tight, though. This season, if they do play in a 7-game series, I'd probably take OKC in 5 or 6. Next year, that's a 7-game series, right? Next year, they probably beat Denver. This year, I think they lose in 6 games. Whatever. Again, this is just their first run. There's going to be a decade plus of runs now out of the Spurs. It's this new era, obviously, post, Duncan and Parker and Ginobili, and I guess the end of the Kawhi, or start of the Kawhi era. Regardless, I think they should be able to beat Portland. Again, if you're this good, and they have been good this season, I think they should get the Blazers. The Blazers match up kind of well for the Spurs, I believe, just from what we've seen so far this season. I know, the last game was won by Portland, but I do think San Antonio gets it, and they're a 3.5-point favorite at home. I think they cover that as well. It's a massive spot for Portland, don't get me wrong, but I do need to mention this at the same time. Regardless of what happens today, Portland's next game is still a must-win regardless. And their next game against the Clippers still is going to determine who gets the 8 seed. No matter what happens today, Portland needs to win their next game against the Clippers. So we can say it matters a lot, which it does, but ultimately their sights are likely set on that Friday night game in Portland on Friday night. That's the one who's going to determine who's going to get to play the Suns in the first play-in game, and determines who the loser is going to get to host Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Who, by the way, how about the Kings intentionally trying to lose last night by fouling Seth Curry at the end of a game, with 2 minutes left because they thought they were going to win. Horrible stuff. Anyways, I'm going to go San Antonio tonight, -3.5 without Wembanyama and Castle. On to our 4th best bet of the video, we go to a spread play. I know the Phoenix Suns did not do us a solid yesterday. I tried to read too much into the odds, and that's my fault. I shouldn't have second-guessed myself. I should have said, okay, well, Houston's an underdog, let's take them. Tonight, we're looking at the Phoenix Suns versus the Dallas Mavericks. It is the second night of a back-to-back for both teams. The Mavs are down 17-0 to start their game yesterday against the Clippers. Ultimately, they only lose the game by 13, but still they lose, and they had a horrible start. Second night of a back-to-back for Dallas versus the Phoenix Suns, who obviously are on the second night of a back-to-back as well. One team, though, has to do traveling. One team didn't. Obviously, yesterday, Suns lose to the Rockets. Mavs, though, lose in Los Angeles against the Clippers, or in Inglewood against the Clippers. And yeah, Cooper Flag right now is on his Rookie of the Year hunt. I think he's going to get it. Obviously, that huge 40-point game against the Los Angeles Lakers, I think, solidified it. I mean, it's been a back-and-forth thing all year long with him and Con Knuppel. And yeah, Con's team's going to be going to the play-in and maybe the playoffs. But I mean, Cooper Flag's end of the season, end of Cooper Flag's year has just been absurd. You know, the 51 points against Orlando was phenomenal, and then he obviously follows that up with 45 against the Lakers on prime time against LeBron. Yeah, the guy's the Rookie of the Year. Knuppel's great, and Knuppel's going to continue to be great in the NBA. This one, though, I think it goes to Cooper Flag. Regardless, though, I think Cooper Flag's going to play quite a bit tonight because Dallas, they have one thing to chase for the rest of their season. Obviously, they're still, I think, coping with the fact that Luka Doncic is not a Maverick anymore, and they traded Luka for, Marvin Bagley, but whatever, it's okay. Which, oddly enough, the Kings chose Marvin Bagley in the draft over Luka way back when, but that's neither here or there. They're going to play Cooper Flag quite a bit. The ball is going to get forced to Cooper Flag. And at times, though, I mean, Dallas doesn't really need to force the ball to Cooper Flag because he's just that good. I mean, his ability to drive to the basket is insane. It is. I mean, again, he's only 20 years of age, and it is absurd what the guy is doing. He might still be 19, actually. I think he's 20 now, right? He might, actually, no, he's probably 19. He is 19. My goodness. He's not going to turn 20 until December of this year. Regardless, though, I do think the Suns win this game, and I think they win it via a blowout. Now, again, there is the case that how much does the game mean to Phoenix? I understand. Still, though, it's a little bit different, I will say. Because for playoff teams, the 1 through 6, the automatic playoff teams, you get that week-long break. Okay, you get the week-long break, and you don't really care as much about the end of the season because, okay, you're going to be in, you're going to be in a 7-game series. And worst case, you play a bad game 1-0. Okay, now we still have 3 games to correct what we did in that first matchup. For the Phoenix Suns, you're going to play it's not a do or die playing game in the first game, obviously, but you get 2 chances to win 1 game. You have to remain hot. You have to remain at, the best, you remain in the best shape you imaginably can be in. And I just don't think they're going to be taking games off, obviously, down the stretch. I don't think so. The first 2 games played between these 2 teams this season, Phoenix wins the first one by 9, 123 to 114. They win the second game by 9 as well. I do believe they make the strides in this matchup. I do think so. Dallas, very injured going into this game. Obviously, were very injured going into their last matchup against the Clippers. I can't imagine, again, they're going to play all of their guys tonight. Phoenix, again, I think they need to stay in somewhat of a winning mindset. You can't just go out and drop your last couple of games because, again, you get into that 1-game plan, and yeah, you're at home, but it's an absolute must. And yeah, you get two chances to win 1 game at home for that team. But if you're Phoenix, actually, I don't even know what matchup you want more. I mean, the Spurs have beat them down this season, and the Thunder have beat them down too. Maybe the Suns want to... Oh, no, they don't have their picks. They have to win. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're just going to take their chance with San Antonio. Sure. But, I mean, if you're them, though, right, you need to build up to that point. Dallas, obviously their season's over, but they're at a point, right, where they don't really care either. I guess they're trying to tank a little bit, but they beat the Lakers. And that's the thing. Like, they've been so ass for the longest time, except for the Lakers game. It's just absurd. And I get it. Cooper Flag's been putting up numbers. He scores 50 points against the Magic and whatnot. But the 1 game they win, obviously, is LA, because why not? I guess they're still fighting for a draft pick, right, for the odds currently. They have 25 victories. That's the same amount of wins that the Grizzlies have. The New Orleans Pelicans have 26. Obviously, the Pels pick those, controlled by the Atlanta Hawks. But more losses are better, obviously, for Dallas as they are trying to tank again. And we'll see if the NBA rewards them with another high draft pick. I've always been joking throughout this entire draft cycle, and I think it's going to happen, right? They got rewarded with Cooper Flag. Adam Silver is intent on building super teams. He built the super team in San Antonio, and now he's building another super team in the state of Texas with the Dallas Mavericks as a big thank you for trading Luka Doncic to Hollywood. My guess is Cameron Boozer is going to wind up as a Dallas Maverick. They're going to end up with the number 3 pick. I think they're going to reward Indiana, but I think Indiana's going to get stuck with 2. My current guess is they are going to put Brooklyn at 1 because they want the Nets to be back in the limelight. And I think they're going to go, again, my current, because we know the draft lottery's rigged. They're going to go Brooklyn, Indiana, so they get DeBonston, Peterson, both of the West. And Peterson's going to go to Brooklyn. DeBonston's going to go to Indiana. And I think 3 is going to be Dallas, so they get Boozer. So it's like, oh, well, we only gave the Spurs 2 last year. They're going to give Boozer to Dallas. And 4, the Kings are going to get screwed again. They're going to go 4, Chicago. Chicago's going to have a decision. Do you want Kingston Flemings? Do you want Darius Acuff? Or do you want Caleb Wilson? And then Kings, they'll give like the Kings 7. The Kings are going to get like 9. They'll say, Braylon Mullins, have fun. You can have Mullins and Keegan Murray both sit in corners all game long. Whatever. I'm going to be going with the Suns tonight -10. I don't love the Dallas injury situation. I think Dallas is coming into this game with the sole purpose of trying to get Cooper Flag as many points as possible. Phoenix should be looking to get back on the right track with only 3 more games remaining in their season. I'm going to go Suns they have 2 more games or 3 games? They only have 2 more games. My goodness. Yeah, they need to get back on the right track immediately before an eventual matchup against either the Clippers or the Portland Trail Blazers. Phoenix -10. And speaking of the Los Angeles Clippers, here they are. Well, in the form of a guy that they traded for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I get it, because if they didn't trade Shea, then they wouldn't have gotten Kawhi anyways, or 2 with Paul George. Okay, I'm taking Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over 29.5 points. It's a low line for Shea, and I understand why it's a low line for Shea, because it's the second night of a back-to-back, and OKC actually has not locked everything up yet. They could lose out, and San Antonio could win out, and the Spurs then would still get the number 1 seed. It's very unlikely, obviously, to happen, but it could happen. OKC will go on to play, they'll play Denver coming up, and their final regular season game, I believe, is Phoenix. I think it's Phoenix, against a Phoenix team that's going to have no purpose or no intent on trying to win a game. So yeah, worst case, they go to Sunday and they have to beat the Suns to get the number 1 seed. They're likely just going to try to finish it tonight. So there is still somewhat of a purpose to win tonight if you are the if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder. Win this game, you lock up the 1 seed, and you likely don't need to play any of your starters the final 2 games of the year. Shea's already played the amount of games. Chet's already played his 65 games. They'll probably play him one of the final 2, I would have to assume. They're probably going to play them. Probably the San Antonio game, if I had to imagine. Just give them the extra night off on Sunday. You can play the G League guys plus Jarrett. Well, actually, no, sorry. Their bench is so loaded. They're just going to play, one of the, they're going to play a starting lineup that would be, or bench unit that would be operational as a starting lineup somewhere else in the league. But that's what they'll do on Sunday. Saturday, they'll probably play some of their guys 20 minutes and get them out against San Antonio. But tonight is the night for the OKC Thunder to lock up the number 1 seed. And with that being said, I do believe Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is still going to go over 29.5 points. I know SGA's scoring has been slightly down recently, only scoring 25 points against the Lakers yesterday, and only scoring 20 in the game prior to that against Utah, and then only scoring 28 in the game before that against the Lakers. Common denominator in all that, though. Those teams, well, okay, the Lakers aren't trying to lose like the Jazz, but the Lakers just aren't very good right now. And obviously that first game, yes, Luka and AR did play the first halves and played deep into that game against OKC. Obviously it was just a blowout, and, just kind of unfortunately shows you the difference between OKC and the rest of the league. It's just the truth. But anyways, right, the Jazz game, Jazz aren't trying to win. Second Lakers game, Luke Kennard was our best player last night. LeBron doesn't even play like we guessed, and Shea only drops 25 points in 28 minutes. But again, the key thing is SGA only has to play 28 minutes because the game's a blowout. And his last 3 games that he's played, he hasn't had to actually score points because, well, they got to get him his 20 points to continue the record. Obviously, that he broke Wilt Chamberlain's record earlier in the year. They got to get him 20 and get him out. This is a game where I do think it's going to be a little bit more competitive, guys. The Clippers are playing for their season right now. And the Clippers, like I mentioned earlier, okay, Portland, if they lose tonight, it's probably not the end of the world, because we're just kind of assuming the Clippers are going to lose tonight. But if the Clippers do pull off the upset, which would be huge, obviously, if they pull it off, they have 2 chances to win 1 game to close their year. And what I mean by that is, they play Portland, obviously, and we're expecting, again, the Clippers to lose. But say they win tonight. Okay. Say they win and the Blazers do lose to Denver. The Clippers then have 2 games up on Portland. Yeah, Portland could get 1 game back by beating them, obviously, at the Moda Center in a couple nights. But then the Clippers, all they would have to do on Sunday is beat the Golden State Warriors, and then they clinch the 8 seed. If they lose that game and Portland goes on to beat Sacramento, which they will do, then Portland will go back in the 8. Again, we are assuming Portland loses tonight, and I've been assuming OKC is going to beat the Clippers tonight. But if the Clippers do win the game, which again I'm sure they're going to try to win 100%, because then ultimately your season comes down to just beating the Warriors on Sunday night, which the Warriors will have nothing to play for. And if you're the Clippers, then you could just sit your guys Saturday night and just get them ready for the final game of the season. But it gives you options if you win tonight. And that's why they're going to try for it. And I think we're going to see the toughest version of the Clippers you've seen all year long. I mean, the Clippers just tweeted the tweet of the initial tweet of Ty Lue saying we need to win, X amount of games in X amount of days, and they have done it. They have passed that goal now to get into the play-in. So good for the Clippers after an all-time horrible start to their season. They've done that obviously post trading both James Harden and Ivica Zubac. They've brought in obviously Mathurin and Darius Garland, but we're going to see, I think, one of the best versions of the Clippers tonight. This game obviously is going to mean a lot more to the Clippers than it is the Thunder. The Thunder have 3 chances to win 1 game to close their year. And on top of that, San Antonio would need to go perfect and beat Denver as well. So again, this is not a pressing matter for the Thunder, but at the same time, Shea's going to play, and Shea's going to be forced to play, I think, 30 plus minutes tonight. Obviously, again, we know Shea's going to score 20. Okay, that's a given. No matter what, I don't know, legitimately, I don't know when that streak ends. That streak's going to end and when someone picks a fight with Shea and Shea's forced to throw hands in the middle of the court. That's when that streak ends. Someone's just going to have beef with SGA. It's probably going to be like someone in the Nuggets, right? Dort's going to fight with Jokic, and then I don't know, Christian Brown's going to point down to the middle of the court and try to Max Holloway, Justin Gagey, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That's probably how Shea's record's going to break, just like how Wilt's broke way back when because he got ejected. But we know Shea's going to score 20. It's just a matter of how does he get the 10 extra points. I think he's going to do so because Shea's going to be forced to play a deep game and forced to play a long game like he did again prior to these last 3 blowouts. Played 41 minutes in that overtime victory against the Pistons where he scored 47 points and played 37 minutes against the Knicks where he scored 30 points. Those were both on back-to-back nights, just like how this is after yesterday's front end of the back-to-back against the Los Angeles Lakers. So I'm going to go with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP of the league, the best player in basketball, to go over 29.5 points tonight on the road in Los Angeles. Again, I expect this game to be very competitive and very close because of the situation the Clippers are in, trying to make the play and try to be the 8th seed to get their 2 chances. I'm going Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over 29.5 points at -115. Folks, that'll do it for our NBA best bets here on April 8th. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you disagree with the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily NBA best bets. Folks, thank you all for watching, and Mamba